was trying to go without it. I was experimenting with a couple other things, but based on the feedback I've seen from you guys, you've made it known loud and clear. I'm bringing back the spreadsheet, so don't worry, we're back with the spreadsheet. I was thinking maybe getting away from it, but you guys seem to prefer having it. So once I get into the games, we will be using that. Now, the games I saw this week, the ones that I watched live in full. I watched the Niners versus Giants game. I watched the Chiefs versus Bears game. I watched the Cowboys versus Cardinals game. A little bit. I watched the second half of that game because I only watched the first half of Chiefs Bears. And then I watched the very tail end of Seahawks versus Panthers. I watched Steelers versus Raiders and the Eagles versus the Buccaneers. I watched a lot of games this week. Let's get into it, starting with Giants versus Niners. I predicted the 49ers to win this one, and they did, starting the week off with a W. Final score is 30-12 in favor of the San Francisco 49ers. Let me pull up my notes for this game. Okay, so I actually only was able to watch this game starting at halftime. I think I was maybe doing some stuff because that's the Thursday game, but for me it's Friday, and that's one of my girlfriend's days off, so we both have that day off. So we've been doing stuff around the house on that Friday, so I turned the game on at the half. And I saw this stat that was saying that the Giants have been outscored 63-6 in first halves so far this season. 63-6. Now they've won a game in that span. That's just, you shouldn't always have to be playing from behind. That's not a good habit to build as an NFL team. The Giants got the touchdown when I turned it on, went for two, and missed it. 49ers were making a pretty good march down the field, forced to take a 64-yard field goal. That's good. And then Daniel Jones threw a great pass to a wide receiver. I didn't see who it was. I don't remember. It would have been a conversion on third down, but he dropped it. Dropped the pass. At one point in Deebo Samuel, he had to leave. He kind of limped off a little bit. But he might have been maybe potentially injured, but he came back in immediately. Scored a touchdown. There was a dirty play by Greenlaw after a tackle, which it's like, when you're winning by this many points, why are you going to start, playing dirty? It doesn't make sense. Usually teams start doing that when they're down, but when you're, being this dominant in a game. Fourth quarter, Daniel Jones, he throws it downfield, ends up getting picked off, and that pretty much seals any hope of a comeback right there. So like I said, final score 30-12 in favor of the Niners. Daniel Jones, he goes 22 completions on 32 attempts. Adjust my microphone slightly. He had 137 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, a very untimely one. Brock Purdy, he has 25 completions on 37 attempts, interceptions. I realized this is Charges v Vikings instead of Chargers. Let me fix that. But we move now to that game. I picked the Vikings to win this one. I thought they would bounce back because of the Chargers defense being rather porous so far this season, and early it did look like, that the Vikings were gonna win this one, but the Chargers come back and they get the W. Final score 28-24 in favor of the Los Angeles Chargers. Unfortunately, Mike Williams tears his ACL this game. He's going to be out the rest of the season. Now, thankfully for the Chargers, they're pretty stacked at wide receiver. But still, having your WR2 go down injured like that, never good. Especially when they, kind of have had a slow start to the season. That's one of your weapons that you're going to kind of be leaning on a little bit to maybe get you out of your slumps when they come. Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins both have amazing games. Like I said last week, Kirk Cousins continues to put up really good stats, even though his team is losing. Justin Herbert has 40 completions on 47 attempts, 405 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kirk Cousins has 32 completions on 50 attempts, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bills v. Commanders. I predicted the Bills to win this one, and they did in extremely convincing fashion, 37-3 for the Bills. And what happened with the Commanders here? Because last week they were so dominant against wasn't it Denver? Hold on. They did play Denver last week, right? It's not showing for some reason. I thought they did. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could have sworn. But regardless, really bad loss there for the Commanders. Great win for the Bills after, kind of having a very bad first week of the season. Weeks 2 and 3 now. The Bills have been very good. They were only a 5.5 point favorite coming into this game. They end up winning it by 34, so the bookies got a little bit wrong on that. Did something happen to Gabe Davis this game? I thought I saw something. Like, did he get injured or something? No, I could have sworn I saw some news about Gabe Davis. No, I don't know. That's weird. I don't know why I thought that he got hurt, but no, he didn't. Josh Allen. Oh, well, I see why the Commanders lost. Josh Allen has 20 completions on 32 attempts, threw for 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Sam Howell. Last week, his teammates were really hyping him up. There's a kind of a viral TikTok where they're saying, like, he's Sam Himmel, like him. He goes 19 for 29, 170 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 4 interceptions, and one of those was a pick 6, which is not what you want to see. Yeah, so the Bills' secondary really was giving the Commanders some issues this game. All the games I watched are kind of down lower on the list. That's unfortunate. Okay, next up, Saints versus Packers. I predicted the Saints to win this one. And this was another comeback win, kind of like what happened with the Chargers. Even bigger of a comeback, though. Because the Saints scored all their points in the first half. They went up 17-0 early in the game. And then the Packers came back and hung 18 on them. Which is weird because so far the offense for the Saints has been the issue, but the defense has been rock solid. They've had like the best defense in the league. They didn't allow a touchdown until like garbage time of week 2. So the Saints were looking like one of the best defensive teams in the league, even if their offense was having some issues. But 18 straight unanswered points for the Packers in the second half. Now I know that, I felt like the offense was a little bit spotty for the Saints. I felt like the chemistry wasn't really there. But I see that Derek Carr only had 18 pass attempts. That feels really low to me, especially by the time that, they start coming back. Maybe after that second touchdown, they go up. Because they get the field goal, and then they get a rushing touchdown while Jordan Love runs in a touchdown, and then they get the extra point. So that's 8, that's 9. Right, to that point, 17-9. I think at that point, you gotta have Derek Carr start throwing the ball more. Only 18 pass attempts. It doesn't look that great here. But yeah, final score 18-17 in favor of the Packers. Really, good comeback win for a young Packers team. Emboldens them, that's for sure. But it's one of those things where it's like, this season it feels like there's so many, teams kind of floating around the middle that I don't really know how to rate them. There's teams I can look at and be like, oh yeah, they're probably gonna win, but there's so many teams kind of in this nebulous middle spot. It feels like there are so many mediocre football teams this season, I don't know how to predict them. Derek Carr has 13 completions on 18 attempts, 103 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Jordan Love goes 22 for 44, a perfect 50% accuracy rating, 259 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Okay. And plus Love had the rushing touchdown. Falcons, Lions. I took the Falcons here. I thought, they're really great performance week 2. Falcons starting the season 2-0. I was like, man, there's something here. The Lions are 1-1. Bijan Robinson was probably the best running back week 2. He looked like an absolute beast. And then they come out here against the Lions and Bijan Robinson disappears. Robinson only has 10 carries, goes for 33 yards, averaging 3.3 yards per carry. Where is the Bijan Robinson we saw last week there, But that feels kind of like an O-line issue. Now, again, I didn't watch this game against the Lions. This isn't one of the ones I watched this week. But I feel like that's the Lions pass rush was really disrupting the Falcons, run blocking. Final score 20-6 in favor of the Lions. Desmond Ridder has 38 pass attempts. He connects on 21 of those. 201 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jared Goff, kind of a, I don't know, this feels like a very classic Jared Goff game. 22 completions, 33 attempts, 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Yeah, Bijan Robinson was outperformed by Jahmyr Gibbs, and that's not me talking trash about Gibbs. I think Gibbs is very good. I said as much week 1 of the season. I said Jahmyr Gibbs needs to get the ball more. But Bijan Robinson's being hyped up as one of the best young running backs in the league, and he only got 33 yards. Like, gotta do more than that. Jared Goff also got a rushing touchdown. Titans versus Browns. I predicted the Titans here because the Browns looked terrible last week. But the weird thing is they looked terrible this week too. But they still win this one 27-3. Deshaun Watson had one of the stupidest passes I've ever seen in this game, yet somehow the team still won. They're getting pressured. He drops back. As he's falling to the ground, he throws the ball backwards. The guy catches it, and then he gets hit like 15, 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And then somehow they still win this. And that's what I'm talking about with, like, these teams that are kind of in the middle. Like, it's easy to say, oh yeah, the Bills will probably win, the Niners will probably win, the Dolphins, whatever. But how do you predict week in, week out if the Tennessee Titans are going to win? Because you don't know if the week 2 Titans are stepping out on the field, or if the week 1 and week 3 Titans are stepping out on the field. Like, Ryan Tannehill last week looked great. Derrick Henry last week looked great. They both looked garbage this week, and they both looked garbage week 1. Derrick Henry only had 20 rushing yards in this game. Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the NFL, just an absolute monster. Usually nobody can even slow him down, like the reincarnation of Marshawn Lynch. 20 yards on 11 carries, 1.8 yards per carry average. But what's crazy is the Browns couldn't rush the ball either. Jerome Ford is their leading rusher. He had 18 yards on 10 carries, averaging 1.8 yards per carry. Him and Derrick Henry are the 2 best rushers in this game, and both of them averaged fewer than 2 yards per carry. Just a really weird game. Ryan Tannehill here goes 13 for 25, 104 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Deshaun Watson, 27 completions on 33 attempts, turned 89 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. If you'll pardon me, I need to get a drink. I got a Mount Franklin pineapple sparkling water. Delicious. My throat was getting a little dry. Alright. Now we're moving on to a game. I think this game was like a hot take for me, this prediction. Texans, Jags. I think this was like, I don't know, not to like sound like I'm, toot my own horn, but this felt like a bold pick. Taking the Texans here, but I loved what I saw week 2 from CJ Stroud. And I guessed correctly. I said the Texans would win. They get their first win of the season, 37-17 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And again, it might be too early at this point. 3 weeks into the season, 3 weeks into their careers, but CJ Stroud could very well be the best QB from this draft class. He looks so good. CJ Stroud looks confident. He's making like veteran throws. He just looks really composed out there. You have to remember, this is still the Texans. Like, if they get better and put some better pieces around him, give him some actual weapons, like in 2 years, the Houston Texans, like, I think, there could be something there. Heard a weird noise, I don't know what that was. Sorry, I think that was my dog, like on the couch. I said to go check on her. But yeah, CJ Stroud, like the Texans in 2 years, they get some good drafts going here. Like, they look good. They look good this game. And, not to like, what we'll talk about in a second, but, I'll score 37-17. CJ Stroud has 20 completions on 30 attempts, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Trevor Lawrence goes 27 for 40, 279 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And the Texans got a kick return touchdown this game, which is always exciting. Now, speaking of CJ Stroud, I want to talk about the Patriots versus Jets game. I thought the Jets would win this one because the Jets still, even with Aaron Rodgers injured, has a very good defense. The Jets have, as many people keep saying, they have a Super Bowl quality defense. It's just, Zach Wilson's now their starting QB. So it's like, alright, with that defense, if Zach Wilson's just like average, even if he's kind of like a below average, the Jets should get the win here. But they don't. Because Zach Wilson wasn't only not average. Zach Wilson wasn't only not below average. Zach Wilson was terrible. And he was so bad that, hold on, I had to find the article I was looking at, the Post. Here's this post, 6 screenshots of Garrett Wilson being wide open, where Zach Wilson doesn't throw him the ball. There's a clip of Joe Namath saying that he's seen enough of Zach Wilson. And look at this, listen to these defensive ratings. So, these are the ratings of the defensive players on the Jets out of all players at their position. Quinnen Williams is 7th of 119 players in his position. Jordan Whitehead is 6th out of 78. Quincy Williams is 9th out of 72. DJ Reed is 10th out of 96. Sauce Gardner 17th out of 96. I get the picture. These guys are really good defensive players. And there's this post. It says the film shows Jets had receivers open deep nearly every play against the Patriots. And there's this other post. If the Jets scored the league average of 23 points over the last 18 games, they would be 15-3. There was a play where the Jets were on the 2-yard, the Jets are 4th and 10, and Zach Wilson throws a 2-yard check pass. He's just terrible. This was a very winnable game. All those wide open wide receivers, if he makes even half of those passes, the Jets win this game, it's a 5-point loss to the Patriots. And the problem is, they won't even consider replacing him. Carson Wentz is a free agent QB. Like, there's guys on the market. You could bring in Matt Ryan as a free agent QB. They'll at least be average, maybe below average, but they'll be better than Zach Wilson. And with that defense, the Jets could at least maybe push for the playoffs. You're not going to go all the way, but they'd have a better season record than they're having now. But the front office won't even entertain the idea of moving on from Zach Wilson as their backup QB, even though he has shown them absolutely nothing in his career. That's just a little mini rant there. Like, I know that, you know, him and Fields, I feel like I pick on them a lot, but they just both infuriate me. Half the time I don't know what Zach Wilson's, like, looking for. Like, it's one thing, I try to criticize guys for missing open receivers, because when you're watching the TV, you have the bird's eye view, and when you're down there on field level, obviously it's different. But he's been in the league 2 years at this point. When guys are open that often and you're not hitting them, it just seems like he's not even looking to make those throws. I don't know. And like I said, it's not even like the Patriots were good this game. Like, Mac Jones 15 for 29, 201 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Zach Wilson goes 18 for 36, 157 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And one last point here, actually 2 last points. Because earlier I mentioned C.J. Stroud. The game C.J. Stroud had last week, his game against the Jaguars. That is the 3rd game of C.J. Stroud's NFL career. That would be the best game of Zach Wilson's career, and he's been in the league for 2 years now. It took C.J. Stroud 3 weeks in the NFL as a starting quarterback to outperform Zach Wilson. Like, his entire career. Insane. One other point is, I see a lot of Jets fans, people talking about firing the coaches. The thing is, the receivers were open. The coach's job is to scheme to get guys open. They have successfully done that. The receivers were getting open. You can look at the screenshots. Almost every play there's a guy open downfield. The QB just wasn't throwing them the ball. I don't think the coaches are the problem. Now, if you want to talk about a team where coaches maybe are the problem, let's talk about the Denver Broncos, shall we? I thought the Dolphins would win this one. They did. And boy, did they win. The Miami Dolphins scored 70 points to the Denver Broncos 20 points. The second largest points total for an NFL offense of all time. 1966, the Bears put up 73. And the thing is, the Dolphins could have easily gone for more. There's a field goal they could have kicked. They brought in the backups at one point, but the backups were still scoring. This is a complete embarrassment for the Broncos and a total indictment on that front office. Last season was really bad for the Broncos, their first season with Russ. But last season you had Hackett there, rookie head coach. Bring in a veteran quarterback like Russ, someone who'd won before. there's a little bit of criticism for Russ, but a lot of people, myself included, were like, you need to get a better coach in here. Like, this guy isn't gonna hack it. Pardon the pun. So they did. And Sean Payton comes in. Is it time that we maybe admit that Sean Payton is the Doc Rivers of the NFL? He was in the right place at the right time, and that got him a ring. But we have to question, did he really have anything to do with that ring, or was he carried by the talent on his team? Because Sean Payton was meant to come in here and fix all of the problems the Denver Broncos have. And they have started the season 0-3. They gave up 70 points. And the worst part is, immediately after that, they come out to the press conference and they say nobody is being fired. Not even Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator, who has needed to be gone. Vance Joseph, you have to at least fire the defensive coordinator if your defense gives up 70 points. Because at a certain point as well, also, and this has to be talked about, it becomes an effort thing. Like, the Dolphins can be scheming to get their guys open. That's a big point. Like, McDaniels is like an amazing coach. And the thing is, too, he wanted to interview with the Broncos. They wouldn't even interview him. They're probably kicking themselves now. But at a certain point, like, the defensive guys are letting them do it. Like, they stop caring. They stop thinking they can win. Because as much as people want to give, even like Russ, like people talking about, like people have been talking about Russ, like, oh, he wishes he in Seattle, He put up 20 points, and Russ, how he is such a competitor. Russell Wilson was out there battling until the end. Like, he was taking hits to extend the play. He was doing the things you want to see a QB do. It's not on him. Like, last season, maybe he was having some issues. I won't deny that. But this season, Russ has actually been good. It's everyone around him that's been bad. And that includes coaching, I think. I don't think the coaching's been good. And the problem is, with the way Russ's contract works in the Denver Broncos cap structure right now, this year was meant to be the year. This team they have right now is as good of a team as they are going to have during Russell Wilson's time with the Denver Broncos, because of how their cap is currently structured. Like, this is the team, and this team isn't good enough. So I don't know. Does Russ go somewhere else after this season? Does he just tough it out like he wants another ring? We know Russell Wilson's made it very clear he wants to get another Super Bowl ring. But I don't think he gets it done in Denver. But does he go to a third team? Who would that be? I don't know. But this is an embarrassment. Shannon Sharp absolutely went in on them. Miami was a 5.5 point favorite. The over-under was 47.5 points. And I think, the Dolphins had 300 yards passing and 300 yards rushing, or 250 yards rushing, something like that. Like, I can look at it right now. Dolphins had 350 rushing, 376 passing. Just crazy. Alright. Russell Wilson goes 23 completions on 38 attempts, 306 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Tua Tagovailoa goes 23 for for 26, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then at one point, Mike White comes in, he gets a passing touchdown too. And the thing is, Mims gets a kick return touchdown, so like really the defense put up 14. Yeah, or the offense put up 14 for the Broncos actually, but yeah, it's rough. Rough. Speaking of rough, what's up with the Baltimore Ravens? I thought they'd win this game quite easily. In fact, I thought this would be a simple game for them. Anthony Richardson's out. You have Gardner Minshew in. Gardner Minshew's okay, but the Ravens' amazing defense, supposedly. So this would be a walk in the park for them. They lose to the Colts. 22-19 in overtime. And I guess that is my question. What's happened to the Ravens? 2-3 seasons ago, I feel like we were looking at them like this team is gonna be pushing for a Super Bowl. This team is gonna be a top 5 team mainstay for a while. But it feels after the Lamar Jackson MVP season, it feels like they took a big step back. And I don't know, I haven't watched a full Ravens game this season, so that's kind of my problem. I need to prioritize that. I need to sit down and watch a full game of theirs. But Ravens fans, people, what's the issue with the Ravens right now? I feel like they're not on the right trajectory to be a championship team. I feel like they were at one point, but they veered off course, and yeah, I don't like what I'm seeing from the Ravens. And I feel like they used to be I don't know, it just doesn't. I don't like what I'm seeing. Gardner Minshew goes 27 for 44. 227 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, 22 for 31, 202 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But he does have 2 rushing touchdowns. And honestly, maybe that's part of the issue, that Lamar Jackson not getting a single passing touchdown. Their best receiver only got 48 yards, so maybe Baltimore's lack of passing weapons, hey, that's part of the issue, I don't know. Now finally we get to a game that I watched a bit of, admittedly not the whole thing, but I turned this game on in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes left. It was 29-20 Seattle. No, I did predict a Seattle victory here, and they pull it out, although the Panthers were winning going into halftime, but the second half of this game, the third quarter especially, belonged to the Seahawks. I noted that Andy Dalton looked really good. I thought he looked more comfortable than Bryce Young did last week. The commentary team kept calling him the Red Rifle. That's not his nickname. He's the Red Rocket. Seattle gets a huge stop to force a 3 and out. Then Kenneth Walker busts out a huge first down run. Charbonnet is just a total freight train in this game, stiff-arming guys, just running through dudes. And then Bobo, the undrafted wide receiver, who is now the wide receiver 3, gets a one-handed catch. Amazing pass from Gino, even better catch from Bobo. undrafted wide receiver has now caught a touchdown pass before Jackson Smith and Jigba did. Like the first round talent wide receiver is being outperformed by the undrafted guy. Jay sends me a little bit. Don't know, he hasn't looked great to be honest, but Panthers get one back at the end of the fourth, but Seahawks win it anyway, and Pete Carroll advances to 15th all-time among coaches for wins, which I thought was pretty cool. Final score 37-27 in favor of the Seahawks. Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, goes 34 for 58, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Geno Smith goes 23 for 36, 296 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Speaking of Cowboys, Cardinals, I had Cowboys in my top 3 for in my power rankings. I kind of keep in my head. My top 3 was Dolphins, Niners, Cowboys, kind of in no particular order. I was like, man, those are the top 3 teams. So I was like, yeah, I'll take the Cowboys on this one. This seems like an easy call. Cardinals are, probably the worst team in the league. Nope. Somehow the Cowboys won this one, which is shocking to me. I turned the game on with 7 minutes and 47 seconds left in the third quarter. The score was 13-21 Cardinals, and it was 4th and 13 for Arizona. That's when I turned the game on. And I was looking at the score and I was like, excuse me, like, what is this? The Cardinals are beating the Cowboys. Micah Parsons gets a big hit, forces a punt. Turpin gets a massive punt return, but there was a flag on it, which sucked. Dak dropped the snap. There was a flag. Then he threw it in the end zone. It was batted down. Just a total broken play. Cowboys go for it on 4th and 4. I thought that was a nice, in a situation like this, you had to go for it. Dak gets pressured. Throw is incomplete. And I was noting that the Arizona defense looked surprisingly good, and the Cowboys' offensive line just really looked shaky in this game, which shocked me. But one thing I noticed was, like, the Cowboys' offense was looking good as they were going down the field. Like, they would march down the field, but when they would, like, get into the red zone, and they would just totally forget how to operate. So I was kind of wondering, like, do they need the extra space to, like, make their plays work? Like, it's, like, the shorter yardage, the shorter field, it just, they were struggling. And then I stacked up, they were 1-3 in the red zone for the game. It's like, alright. Brown gets a catch for a huge first down, and I noted that Dobbs looked really good this game. I was like, where did this Dobbs guy come from? I don't remember him being drafted. I don't, like, he's like, feels like he was a nobody that's just kind of popped up now. Parsons gets a huge sack on Dobbs, get a 4th down. Cowboys get the ball back. Dak is almost intercepted, and I'm sitting there like, Dak's throws look off, his accuracy looks off. Cowboys march down the field again, get to the end zone, and again can't convert in the end zone. CeeDee Lamb gets denied. Then Cardinals get the ball back, and you have a 59-yard pass. Dobbs, the play is blown up. Dobbs gets the ball out. First pass of the drive, 59-yarders. Then Brown gets a touchdown. And I was saying they're like Cardinals might. I was honestly expecting the Cardinals to not get a single win this season. Like my original prediction was they're gonna get 0 to 2 wins max. Because they so obviously want Caleb Williams. Like Kyler Williams, Caleb Williams, yeah, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, it feels like they're done with him. They want to rebuild, bring in Caleb Williams, get a totally new, just completely tear it down rebuild, because they had that season like 2 years ago at this point. They brought in a bunch of free agents. J.J. Watt made a bunch of trades. They pushed all their chips in. It didn't work. They were obviously trying to they thought that was their window. That didn't work. It's like, alright, it's rebuild time. But then they win this game here, and it's like, well, you might lose the tankathon now to the Bears. The Bears might be taking Caleb Williams first overall and kicking Justin Fields out of town, so I don't know, like, for the Cardinals, this is a win, but it might feel like a loss for them. And I was noticing, like, the Cowboys, you know, it's a 5-minute offense, you're down, and they're running the ball. They're just running 2-3 downs, like, I'm like, why are you running the ball? There's 5 minutes on the clock, and you're down 2 scores. Like, you have to be passing here. I don't know if that's the head coach, I don't know if that's the OC, I don't know if that's Dak, but, like, you can't be passing in these situations. They get into the end zone, they get into the red zone. Cowboys waste 3 plays in a row on runs. Finally, 4th down, Dak throws it into triple coverage, and he's picked off. And that's the game. It's such a stupid game from Dak, and the Cowboys looked so good the last 2 weeks. I was like, maybe they're finally gonna, like, shed that. How about them Cowboys? Stephen A. Smith, like, America's team, like a joke. But when they have a game like this and lose the Cardinals, Dak Prescott looked terrible. His stat line does not reflect how poorly he looked in this game. Final score 28-16 favored the Cardinals. Dak goes 25 for 40, turned 49 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Dobbs 17 for 21, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. Moving now, Bears Chiefs. I predicted the Chiefs, and I got that one right, not wrong. This one will also be known as the Taylor Swift game. Taylor Swift is there at Arrowhead, and all the rumors about her and Travis Kelce dating, obviously. You know what's funny is I think they said there's been a 300% increase in Travis Kelce jersey sales over this last week. I called the Swifties are buying his jersey. Okay. So I did watch this game. Here's just some of my notes I took while I was watching. I said Taylor Swift is at Arrowhead, juicy. Bears offensive line's really banged up. There's some injuries there, and I said they already weren't any good when healthy, but now they're hurt. And there was this play that Fields broke the sack, but instead of looking downfield for an open receiver to breaking the sack, he just tried to run it instead. And then I noticed, like, literally every time Travis Kelce got the ball, they would cut away to Taylor Swift afterwards. Chiefs' very first drive of the game ends with a touchdown to McCann. Bears get the ball back, and I was like, just didn't feel, or the Bears aren't even looking to pass the ball, just run play, like, they're not even trying to let him pass. Start of the second quarter, Travis Kelce, wide open, huge catch. Kansas City. I noticed the Bears secondary. The Bears secondary was really struggling. And like, this is the $100 million defense for the Bears. Like, they invested so much money into defense this offseason, and I don't see it. I don't see that investment on the field. Like, all those guys they gave money to, all those guys they brought in to focus on the defense, to building up the trenches, and I do not see it on the field. I just don't. Third down, the Bears finally pass the ball. Field scrambles and throws it away. Oh, I actually made a note about the thing. I said, Bears invested almost $100 million on defense. Where did it go? Mahomes has not been pressured once. McKinnon passes to Mahomes, who passes to Gray, and I'm like, they're just running trick plays. They care so little about the Bears. They're just running trick plays to try things out. And I said, Chiefs have scored on every single drive. And then I noted, seriously, where did all that money go? Bears delay of game on the first play of their next drive. And then on the very next play, they fumble the ball and Kansas City recovers it. Like, delay a game, fumble, Kansas City ball. The Bears finally force a 3-and-out after that, but the field goal is good. And then, they get the ball back. Justin Fields immediately throws an interception, puts the Chiefs into scoring position, and of course they do score there. They get the ball back, or the Bears get the ball back after that, and on the first play of that drive, they get a delay of game again. Fields gets sacked at the start of the second half, and I said Mahomes' pocket is just completely clean. He has all the time in the world not being pressured. And that's when I switched to the Cowboys game, but it is actually shocking how bad the Chicago Bears are. It might be the single worst football team I've ever watched. It's actually shocking. And I was so high on them this offseason. They invested so much money into their roster. And like I said, I don't know where it went. It looks like they lit it on fire. Justin Fields, 11 completions on 22 attempts, 99 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Patrick Mahomes goes 24 for 33, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. And this game was so bad, and Justin Fields has been getting so much, noise and stuff around him that he, did this interview where he's, talking very existentially, I used to focus on the things in life that matter, and all this other stuff, bro isn't even thinking about football anymore. He's having a quarter-life crisis. Steelers, Raiders. I did watch this game. This was actually a very exciting game. I predicted the Steelers to win. Thankfully, I got that one right. A little more green in the sea of red here. So here's my notes from the Steelers-Raiders game. Steelers halfback gets stuffed on 3rd and 1. They start the game with a 3-and-out. Raiders get the ball back, Raiders get the ball for the first time, then they go 3-and-out. And I noted neither offense is really able to get going early. Both sides really playing good defense, locking things down early. Raiders turned it on first, and I said Jimmy's making really good throws, smart passes. Raiders go for it on 4th down with a play action pass that goes to Adams for the touchdown. And then Pickett throws a deep touchdown to Calvin Austin, 72-yard throw, and he was wide open on the play. Pickett just showing off that arm strength there. Raiders get the ball. J.J. Watt gets a huge sack on Jimmy G to start that drive. Steelers get the ball, but Pickett almost gets intercepted. And I noted that the Steelers offense was looking better than it, either of the last 2 weeks. Looking really good. Then Max Crosby gets a huge sack on Pickett on third down to force a punt. And I noted that the Raiders really seemed to just not be wanting to run the ball very much early in that first half. It was just mainly all pass plays. And then towards the end of the first half, Jimmy Garoppolo gets sacked and he left the game. People thought he might be injured and Hoyer might be coming in, but Jimmy does end up coming back out to start the second half. And I noted that Kenny Pickett, just continued to really make impressive plays, really smart decision making. Jimmy G gets picked off in the Steelers' third, and Steelers turned that into a touchdown. Late touchdown to Adams for Las Vegas, but it's too little too late. The 2 points are good. 4th and 1 snap infraction. Raiders kick a field goal. Penalty resets the downs. Still forced to get the field goal again. Steelers covered a huge third down for the 2-minute warning, and then final drive. Thinking, alright, they can convert this. The Raiders can win this, but then Jimmy Garoppolo gets intercepted. And that's the ball game. 23-18 in favor of the Steelers. Kenny Pickett goes 16 for 28, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Jimmy Garoppolo 28 for 44, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions, that's not very good. And there was kind of a concerning quote they got after this game. Davante Adams was basically like, the point I'm at in my career, I need to start winning, and if this team isn't going to be winning, I need to go somewhere else. So maybe Davante Adams gets moved at this trade deadline if the Raiders aren't in playoff position, who knows, but that could be a really big acquisition, either for a bubble team trying to go ahead, or maybe a team that's looking like Super Bowl quality, adding a bit more depth to their roster for a final push. We'll see. And then the final game I watched this week was Eagles Buccaneers. I predicted the Eagles to win this one. Thankfully, they do. Final score 25-11. And this is what I said about the game. I did not have a ton of notes on this game because it got pretty lopsided early. I said Baker gets nearly picked off on the opening drive. He overthrew 2 different passes on that drive. Eagles get an amazing 52-yard punt return. And I noticed they were just running all over the Buccaneers. Tampa had like a no-run defense here. Buccaneers defense is locking down the end zone, though. Field goal to the Eagles. Mayfield gets sacked on 2nd and 11. I noticed the pass rush for the Eagles is really good. Lots of pressure. But the Buccaneers defense was also looking shockingly good. Hurts was getting pressured a lot this game, and that Eagles offensive line, for as good as it was last season, some of the guys they brought in this offseason, that Eagles offensive line looks like it took a little bit of a step back from how good it was last season. Then the commentators, they're talking about how, Baker Mayfield has the longest streak of not throwing an interception, so then of course he throws one. And then the Bucs get it back, they intercept the ball, but then Baker gets sacked. Then the Buccaneers fumble. Jalen Carter forces the fumble. Amazing defense from him. He's been really good. He's getting limited snaps, but when he does play, Jalen Carter has looked really good. And actually, I'm going to save this for the last bit of this. This might be a little bit controversial, I don't know, but Eagles get the touchdown. And I noted that Baker didn't really seem like he wanted to move too much behind the line. He wasn't really scrambling. He wasn't really rolling out. It was weird. It was like Baker just didn't really want to use his legs at all. Deep ball from Baker goes nowhere. He kind of goes back to the bench limping. I noted that Swift was having a really massive game. But then Hurts gets picked off. Big throw from Jalen Hurts gets intercepted. And I guess he's not looking that great when he's passing the ball. When the Eagles are running, they look really good. When Hurts is running, he looks really good. But this game, Hurts' passing just looked off. Bucks can't get out of the end zone. Safety for the Eagles. Really good passing touchdown to Evans for the touchdown and 2-point conversion, but it's too little, too late. Now, this is my potentially controversial point. I think that, okay, yes, the Eagles are 3-0. I recognize that I am saying this while the Eagles are 3-0, but I think we can recognize they're 3-0 while still admitting they do not look as good as they did last season. They do not look like the best team in the NFC. And I don't know if you have them picked as a Super Bowl favorite. I don't think most people do. I wonder how important Shane Steichen was to that team, specifically their offense, because he was their offensive coordinator. The last 2 years, he really helped with Jalen Hurts' development. You know, he was the offensive coordinator when they went to the Super Bowl. He left to go be the head coach of the Colts. And I'm sitting here looking at how shaky Jalen Hurts has been through the first 3 games of this season, specifically while throwing the ball. And I have to wonder if Shane Steichen was really instrumental in bringing out the best of this offense with Hurts running it. I don't know. You tell me what you think, if you agree or disagree. Finally, Rams-Bengals. I picked the Rams here. You know, they've really been a lot pluckier than a lot of people expected them to be. They have a lot of good young talent, offensive weapons, and this game was close, but ultimately the Bengals do win it. And thankfully for them, starting 0-3, the Bengals would be a disaster. Instead, they start 1-2. They have some tough games coming up, but I mean, it's not where they want to be. They're last in the AFC North at the moment. Final score is 16-19 favor of the Bengals. Matthew Stafford goes 18 for 33, 269 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Joe Burrow goes 26 for 49, 259 yards, 0 touchdown, 1 pick. And those are the games for this week. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 out of 16 correct. Yet again, just like last week. So, I do another week of being 50%. Upgrade this. So what for? 16, so 24 out of 48 this season for 50%. I am nothing if not consistent, I guess, but thank you so much for watching. If you guys are still here, still awake, I have a early Super Bowl prediction. I think I'm ready to finally make it. San Francisco 49ers in the NFC. Coming out the AFC, we'll have the Miami Dolphins. That's my prediction. Niners, Dolphins, Super Bowl. We'll see, but I do thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. And until next time, guys.